Hello and welcome to another episode of Ontario Permaculture. I'm Misty Murph'Ariens. For this little episode, I want to share with you a project I've been working on. If you've watched any of our other videos, you might know that we live in a cob house, and so that means that when we paint the walls, we have to do things a little bit differently. Over the years, I've developed a painting technique that I really like to use on cob. It's a combination of oiling and oil paint techniques. I want to show you some of the ways in which I have found to paint and seal and get a really nice finish off of cob, and specifically an oiling technique that is really useful in really high traffic areas where your earthen plasters might get a lot of wear and tear, and it can add like a little splash of color here and there to give a little more interest to the cob. So let's go have a look. This is what the room looked like when I originally plastered it. You can see there's a bas relief here. And so I'm just highlighting some of the sculptural elements with color here and trying to bring the wall a little bit to life. At first, I really liked the brown, and it was such a subtle bas relief that I wanted to leave it that way. But after a few years of seeing it that way, I decided, no, I think I'd like to see it in full color. I did a little test color on a jewelry box that I made for the girls, and I really liked how it was in full color. So here I am beginning to prime the wall. If you just paint color onto the cob directly, you almost always get a really, really dark brown, almost black, no matter what the color is. So for full saturated color, you have to paint it white, let it dry for a little while, and once it's dry, you can start to lay on the color. For this project, I'm using one oil cup, so I started with the primary colors and worked color by color, adding one pigment to it until I had sort of blended into the browns and complicated tones so that I could continue to use the same palette without muddying any of my bright colors. So this took a little reverse engineering on which colors to add, but basically meant that I did my really important details on the fairies first, and then I could lay in things like the green leaves and such once I had a few different colors built up in my palette. I'm brushing on really, really, really oily pigment here and just letting it soak in. And the process of brushing it sort of smooths out the cob. It brushes off all the spare sand and everything that might still be on the surface of the cob, and it sort of polishes it. And as the oil soaks in, it gets harder and glossier, and eventually you get something that is almost as hard as ceramic. Once I had all of the surfaces done, I came back and laid in some highlights and shadows and things like that. Each day I would do one layer of the painting and then let it dry. I've waited for summertime so that I can do this project because this oil dehydration process is very, very slow. I'm using single boiled linseed oil, so it doesn't have solvents in the air when it's curing, but that means that it's really, really slow to absorb and it's really, really slow to dry. So I definitely always do this process when I can have the windows open for lots of evaporation and when we can reasonably expect some dry, hot weather to cure the wall quickly enough to get back to using it. So as I want to create a foreground and a background, the background gets oilier and oilier with less and less pigment, and this sort of desaturates the color and gives you a little bit of texture. Over time, I'll probably lay in details as they occur to me, but I really like the simplicity of this, and I thought it was a good starter. I think it's really important for people to live in places that really engage their imaginations. Children, especially, I really like to have something that just gives them a bit of inspiration. And that's what I hope this is for my girls. After several days of having to vacate the room so that I could do the painting, now it's just time to bring the girls back into the room and see what they think. Will it be suitable for magical tea parties?
Would you like some tea? Thank you. Would you like some cream?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Woody?
Yes, please.
I believe magical environments lead to magical adventures. You know, if you look around, you might find a spare wall that could use a bit of color, maybe a bit of a story. Whatever you do, though, I hope that you find places of enchantment to be enchanted in. And if you can't find any, then definitely make some. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And thank you to everyone who regularly visits the channel and watches our video. Thank you so much for sharing and commenting on the videos and sending us comments. We really appreciate the interaction, and I try to get to your comments as soon as I can. And a very special thank you to all of our financial contributors on Patreon, on GoFundMe, and all of the ways that you show that you care about us and the work that we're doing. So thank you so much to those folks. To everyone, I hope you really enjoy the magic of creating in your own space. And until next time. In fact, I'm going to film this kitty right here.
What?
I'm filming this kitty. So cute kitty.
If you think that the part with the key is cute and you think this kitty is cute, make sure to thumbs up. Because the more thumbs up, the more cuter.
Was that too silly?
Mm-hmm.